GM is going all electric by 2035, and Ford announced that all their cars in Europe will be electric by 2030. No doubt these are aggressive goals, but are they achievable? Are the EVs available today worth it? Now, the idea of electric cars is as old as cars themselves. Still, it's really only been the last decade or so that EVs have become a viable option for car buyers. So what's holding EVs back? In a word, it's the batteries, which translates directly to range. If you want an electric car that can compete with a modern internal combustion vehicle, you need cutting-edge battery technology and materials. Fortunately, there have been significant innovations over the past few years, and several really attractive electrics have hit the market. So what can you expect if you decide to own an electric vehicle? Most importantly, you never have to refuel, ever! No more gas stations, no more $40 fill-ups, no. Ideally, charge your car overnight, and then the batteries provide enough power to last you the entire day. Granted, longer trips will require recharging at a charging station. But in average use, it'll be time to say goodbye to station visits forever. Hand in hand with less station trips, it's cheaper to recharge an EV than to fill up a tank of gas. Pretty simple math here. Mile for mile, electricity is cheaper than gasoline. Likewise, electric cars are simply cheaper to maintain overall. There's no oil changes, no replacing spark plugs, no air filters either. Electric cars have fewer parts, so there are fewer components that can break, and regenerative braking means that even brake pads last longer. Now, it's not all about saving money though. Electric cars can be fun. The most noticeable performance improvement over internal combustion is the so-called instant torque. EVs accelerate fast. A Tesla Model S can go from 0 to 60 in a blistering 2.3 seconds. That's faster than a $400,000 Lamborghini. That's because electric motors can utilize all of their torque instantly. Internal combustion engines need to build up to a certain RPM to achieve peak torque and horsepower. Now, fast and straight is all well and good, but what about, steering? Well, electric cars have a lower center of gravity than their gas counterparts, and that helps with high-speed handling. Picture a nearly on-the-ground Formula One car. The lower center of mass also helps to prevent rollovers, which is a great added safety perk. And electric cars are quite comfortable too. The motors are super quiet and produce no vibrations. That means you get a quiet, smooth ride with even the most budget-friendly EVs. Finally, you can't talk about EVs without going into the environmental advantages. Since they don't burn anything, they generate no exhaust. They have zero tailpipe emissions. That means cleaner air and a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Now, that electricity, of course, needs to come from somewhere. But 94% of Americans live where, overall, electric cars generate fewer emissions than a car getting 50 miles per gallon. In a state that uses a lot of renewable energy, Oregon, for example, the total emissions of driving an EV can be less than 1/5 the emissions of driving an internal combustion car. Pretty impressive. So why aren't we all driving electric by now? Well, there are trade-offs. Right now, electric vehicles are expensive. For example, the Fiat 500e has an MSRP of about $33,000. That's double its traditional gas counterpart. Prices will likely start dropping as more electrics hit the market, but EVs are still a big reach for many people. And electric cars lose value fast, much faster than gas cars. And how the batteries hold up over the years still remains to be seen. Next, there's the question of range and charging stations. The average electric vehicle has a range of 195 miles on the full charge. Sounds pretty good, until you consider that an internal combustion car getting 25 mpg and with a 16-gallon fuel tank has a range of about 400 miles. Now, most Americans drive fewer than 30 miles per day. However, not all driving is everyday driving. If you have a commute or job that works your car harder, having an EV might not make the cut. Then you need to factor in the charging infrastructure or lack thereof. There are 168,000 gas stations in the US. Electric charging stations, about 40,000, and they're concentrated in the big coastal cities. You can jump in a gas vehicle and drive it across the country without too much thought about getting gas along the way. Taking that same trip in a Chevy Bolt would require much more careful planning, lest you get stranded with a dead battery somewhere. Charging takes longer than filling up a fuel tank, especially when charging at home. A 240-volt home charger fills a Model X battery from empty to full in about 10 and a half hours. Commercial charging stations can fill batteries much faster, but there's still nothing close to the in and out convenience of a standard gas pump. You also have to consider whether your home is even set up for EV charging in the first place. You can run a charging cable to your car in your garage or driveway, but if you rely on street parking, you may be out of luck here. Now for a big question. Are electric cars better for the environment? In terms of greenhouse gas emissions, EVs certainly take the cake, though it depends on how clean your electricity is in the first place. Those batteries though, making them is pretty rough on the environment. They require cobalt, lithium, other special materials. It's a difficult, dirty process of getting those minerals out of the ground. So in the end, building an electric car is over twice as resource intensive as building a gas vehicle. And you can't just throw an EV in the scrapyard once you're done with it. Just like with your laptop or your phone, the batteries in electric cars need to be specially disposed of. Otherwise, they can leak and lead to even more chemical pollution. Lastly, electric vehicles might not meet your personal style and needs. There are some electric trucks and pickups in the works, but right now you're not going to find any heavy-duty EV options on the market. And when it comes to style, EVs had a mixed reception at best. Manufacturers seem to want their EVs to look somehow different than their gas lineups. Note, different, not necessarily better. But hey, it's all subjective. So what is the final verdict here? If you're looking for something that'll take you to work and back, maybe run some errands on the weekend, then yeah, EVs are an attractive option. You'll pay more up front, but what you save in fuel and maintenance could make up for it. Plus, they're fun to drive while still reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Now, if you need some towing capacity or have a heavy commute, EVs aren't going to cut it, at least not yet. Maybe you're relying on street parking or live in an area without many charging stations. That might turn you off as well. And they are expensive, simple as that. Subscribe to our channel for more guides and how-tos. Do you happen to own an electric vehicle? We'd love to get your take on it. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.